In this section, you will hear a conversation between a young student and an employment agency about their services. First, you have half a minute to look at questions 1 to 7. Now listen and answer questions 1 to 7.
Hello, welcome to the AAA Employment Agency. How can I assist you today?
Hi, I called earlier about finding a summer job. My name is Andrew Peterson.
Ah, yes. I have your file right here. Let me just gather some additional information from you.
Sure. What else do you need to know?
First, can you tell me about your educational background? Are you a university student?
Yes, I'm currently studying engineering, but some of my friends are in computing, which also interests me.
Okay, I'll make a note of your engineering degree. Do you have any previous work experience?
The only job I've had was as a car salesman, but I do have some programming experience from university.
That's good. Customer service experience can be valuable. What about your hobbies and skills?
I mostly just study, but I do enjoy playing chess, which helps with analytical thinking.
Chess is a great skill to have. And what would you say are your main strengths?
I'd say electronics is my best skill, even though my machine skills aren't as strong.
Noted. And in terms of salary, were you thinking around $1,200 per month?
Yes, that sounds about right to me.
Excellent. When would you be available to start? Within the next few days?
I can actually start immediately, although it may take me a bit to get used to early mornings.
Wonderful. Is there anything else you'd like to add that could help with your application?
The only other thing is that I speak Spanish, though I don't think that will be very useful.
Okay, I'll make a note of that. Well, I believe I have all the information I need. Let me see what suitable opportunities we can find for you.
Narrator, before listening to the rest of the conversation, you have half a minute to look at questions 8 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 8 to 10.
I appreciate your guidance, and I'm hoping to secure employment soon. But before we wrap up, could I ask one final question? What are the primary qualities employers tend to look for during job interviews?
There are several key factors. While being hardworking, diligent, and focused on one's tasks is valuable, it can sometimes lead to a narrow perspective, making it difficult to provide innovative ideas that could propel the company forward. Employers highly prize individuals who can think independently, offer creative solutions, and approach challenges from fresh angles.
I imagine having relevant experience must be an advantage, though.
It depends on the nature of that experience. If it involved routine, unchallenging work that didn't require much independent thinking, it may not carry as much weight. Since companies are comprised of people, the ability to collaborate and build positive relationships with coworkers is crucial. Hiring someone who clashes with the existing team can create unnecessary conflicts, so being personable and approachable is often more valued than academic credentials alone.
I see. So those interpersonal skills are evaluated during the interview process?
Precisely. The interview assesses not only your qualifications and experience, but also your approach to the role, your flexibility, willingness to work extended hours if needed, and ability to wear multiple hats. However, those latter qualities are fairly standard expectations. What may be even more desirable is demonstrated resilience. the capacity to effectively troubleshoot problems and mitigate disruptions when inevitable mistakes or setbacks occur. Candidates who can calmly and adeptly handle such situations are highly regarded.
That's really insightful information. Thank you for explaining it so clearly.
That's the end of part 1. You have half a minute to check your answers. In this section, you will listen to a lecture from the manager in charge of the gym, talking to some new customers who just joined about information and details about the gym. First, you will have half a minute to look at questions 11 to 15.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 15. Welcome, everyone, to Fitness Forever, a facility dedicated not just to temporary quick fixes, but to helping you embark on a sustainable, lifelong journey toward wellness. This is what sets us apart. We could instantly place you on an intense workout regimen, pushing you to exercise daily, but such an extreme approach would likely lead to burnout. That's why we begin with a comprehensive 90-minute consultation to thoroughly evaluate your current lifestyle, circumstances, and long-term goals. A critical component of this initial meeting involves analyzing your dietary habits. Exercise alone cannot compensate for unhealthy eating patterns that lead to weight regain. We'll work together to cultivate self-discipline around your nutritional choices. Similarly, you'll be placed on an exercise plan tailored to your current fitness level, determined through an assessment that measures your heart rate and blood pressure during various physical activities. Your progress will be closely monitored through subsequent monthly consultations, a more frequent check-in than what many other facilities provide. When it comes to our exercise equipment and programming, you'll need to decide whether increasing muscle mass, building endurance, or general overall fitness is your primary objective. Reflect on which of those 3 areas you wish to prioritize, and we'll design a specialized regimen for you. However, keep in mind that bulky muscles may not be the ideal goal for everyone. Sometimes the simplest and most sensible targets are muscle tone and stamina. For our female clients in particular, the focus is often on achieving total mind-body fitness and radiant health.
Before you hear the rest of the discussion, you have half a minute to look at questions 16 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 16 to 20.
As you begin your fitness journey at our gym, it's important to reflect on your underlying motivations for exercising. For some, especially among our male clients, building an impressive muscular physique is a driving goal, likely fueled by a desire to boost confidence and appeal. To achieve that, our high-intensity weight training equipment allows for vigorous strength conditioning. However, exercise offers many other valuable benefits beyond physical appearance. For many, it serves as an essential outlet to alleviate the stresses of daily life. The longer and more rigorous the workout, the greater the tension relief. Activities like squash and swimming can certainly provide this, but few regimens are as effective as running for achieving a profound sense of calm and rejuvenation. That's why our cardio area, stocked with top-quality treadmills, is always a popular hub. While muscle building and stress relief are common goals, improving overall fitness and well-being should be the ultimate objective. In this regard, Squash emerges as one of the most complete and balanced workouts, combining aerobic conditioning with competitive spirit to propel you toward peak health. Of course, practices like yoga offer holistic mind-body benefits as well. Regardless of your chosen exercise mode, our center fosters a strong community of like-minded individuals united in their wellness pursuits. You'll have ample chance to connect with others who share your interests and can provide motivating insights. The yoga studio, in particular, hosts pre- and post-class meetings ideal for making new friends within that discipline, while the common locker rooms allow for casual mingling across all activities. The yoga studio also features an invaluable community board filled with flyers, newsletters, and articles touching on a wide array of health topics and local happenings. Be sure to peruse this wealth of information during your visits.
That's the end of part 2. You have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to part 3. In this section, you will hear a conversation between two faculties in charge of the different departments of the university, talking about who they should choose to give a higher job to. First, you have half a minute to look at questions 21-25. Now listen and answer questions 21-25.
We need to pick someone to give the top job in the education department.
Maybe someone from the arts department of the university.
It could be from any department since the job needs general skills like dealing with workers, solving problems, and getting them focused. The last job needed computer skills, but not this one.
Computer skills would probably help. Knowledge of the arts would be good too.
The key thing is being able to lead the staff the right way.
So it doesn't matter which department of the university the candidates come from?
Not really, but I already looked at people from the computer department and didn't like any of them.
Why not?
They're all too new and don't have enough experience. But the people from the business department have been there a long time, so we'll pick someone from there.
I guess you're right. The arts department doesn't have many good candidates either.
But we'll still need to train the person, teach them how to do the job. They'll have to be ready to work extra hours when needed.
Of course. It can get so busy that they'd have to work on the weekends too, if we were open then.
Good thing we're only open Monday to Friday, right?
Right. But are you sure these people will actually want the job? The extra pay isn't that much better than what they make now.
I know. But there are other benefits. They get paid more for overtime, have a good place to park their car, and get gas money if they have to drive for work.
But those benefits are pretty limited, especially considering all the work and responsibility involved. People often don't like that. They prefer the creative freedom of lower level teaching jobs.
I know. But these candidates should realize that if they do this job well, there will be more promotions later on. You know how everyone likes having their own office, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Well, they could get their own office after a few years, if they're willing to work hard and grow with the university.
Yes, that should attract good candidates.
Before listening to the rest of the conversation, you have half a minute to look at questions 26-30. Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30.
All right, that's enough about the job position. Let's talk about the actual candidates. How many do we have to consider?
I've narrowed it down to 4 people. Let's just use their first names: Stephen, Abdul, Lek, and Oscar. As you mentioned, they have a good amount of experience between them, around 34 years total.
Can you break down the individual experience levels?
Abdul and Stephen both have 7 years. Lek has 1 more year than them, and Oscar is the most experienced at 12 years.
But who is the most qualified for the role?
Stephen and Abdul both have an MBA. Sorry, my mistake. Abdul has something called an M.B.P, which is some kind of foreign degree similar to a master's.
I'm not familiar with that degree, but does Abdul perform the job duties well?
Yes, apparently better than Lek and Oscar, who have a regular degree and some certificates. But we need to consider any potential issues with the candidates. I asked their deans for feedback and found that Stephen, the younger one, likes to drink at the bar and has expressed interest in teaching abroad.
So he has an alcohol problem and isn't stable in the role.
Exactly, he doesn't seem committed to staying long term. As for Abdul, his English is functional but a bit broken, so communication could be an issue. The next one, Lek, has good language skills but a bad attitude. He believes in having plenty of free time and complains about the job a lot.
I see. So he wouldn't be willing to work extra hours. What about the last candidate, Oscar?
Oscar's English is good. He has a good attitude and he's stable. But the problem is his age. He's quite old, and that brings health concerns.
Age shouldn't be a problem. That would be unfair discrimination. But if there are serious health issues, that could be an issue.
Yes, that's the main concern with Oscar. His advanced age comes with significant health problems.
That's the end of part 3. You have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to part 4. In this section, you will listen to a lecturer discussing about caves. First, you will have time to look at questions 31 to 33.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 33. Caves have long been a fascination for people. These natural underground spaces that people can enter exist all over the world. No matter how remote or challenging a cave may be, explorers will find a way to investigate it, whether it's the Clearwater Cave in Borneo, the vast Mammoth Cave in America, or the treacherous underwater caves. The scientific study of caves is called speleology, and it involves many different fields like chemistry, geology, biology, and cartography, the science of creating accurate maps. This is important because the largest caves can stretch for hundreds of kilometers and have very complex layouts. Even if people are just exploring caves for fun, as cavers, they often end up using these speleological sciences. Researchers believe that only a small fraction of the world's caves have actually been found and documented so far. This is especially true in areas where caving isn't a popular activity, like in China, which has vast stretches of limestone that are prime for cave formation. As exploration continues, many more caves are likely to be discovered, which could drastically change our understanding of the total number of caves on the planet.
Before you hear the rest of the discussion, you have half a minute to look at questions 34 to 40. Now listen and answer questions 34 to 40.
The formation of caves is a fascinating process. The most common way they form is through a chemical process called dissolution, where slightly acidic water seeps into the ground and gradually dissolves soluble rock like limestone, creating passages and cavities over time. Another type of cave is a primary cave, which forms at the same time as the surrounding rock. The most common primary caves are lava tubes, which are formed when the surface of flowing lava cools and hardens, leaving the still molten lava underneath to drain out and leave a hollow tube. These types of caves can be found in places like Iceland and Australia. Sea caves are a third type, created by the erosive power of waves crashing against coastal cliffs and wearing away the rock. These tend to be much smaller, usually no more than 50 meters long, as the waves can only reach so far inland. However, the most intriguing caves are those formed from limestone. As water seeps through the ceilings of these caves, the changes in pressure and temperature cause the dissolved calcium carbonate to be deposited, slowly forming stunning rock formations like stalactites and stalagmites over millions of years. One remarkable example is the Lechuguilla Cave in New Mexico. In the 1950s, cavers discovered a deeper passage, and in 1986 were able to dig their way through, revealing one of the longest and most beautiful cave systems in the world. Unusually, many of the formations were yellow with sulfur, suggesting the cave was formed by a different process involving sulfuric acid dissolving the limestone from the bottom up.
That is the end of part 4. You will now have half a minute to check your answers. That is the end of the listening section.